Israel's unemployment rate has now climbed to 24.1%, with over 1 million Israelis seeking unemployment benefits. The good news is that the rate has been slowing. In the beginning of the outbreak, nearly 7,000 Israelis were registering for unemployment every hour, which led the National Employment Service's website to crash. It's believed that about 20% of the newly unemployed won't have a job to go back to after the coronavirus crisis ends, which is why Israeli Minister Naftali Bennett is warning that Israel may see more suicides than deaths from COVID-19 if the country's lockdown continues for too long. Saying, quote, "We have to understand the massive distress of those who won't have enough money to pay their rent." For now, the Israeli government has rolled out a massive $23 billion economic aid package to help relieve the pressure that will include up to $4,000 in grants to the self-employed who have taken a hit, and benefits for salaried employees who have been fired or placed on unpaid leave. Now, speaking of unemployment, with nearly a quarter of Israelis out of work in the face of the coronavirus, Finance Minister Kahlon has presented an 80 billion shekel stimulus package, which includes assistance for small businesses and the self-employed. But while that may sound like a lot, it may only be a drop in the bucket compared to what is actually needed. And here to discuss is ILTV contributor and consumer behavior expert, Dr. Vili Abraham. So why are there so many economic analysts that are saying that this is just not enough?
Well, out of the 80 billion shekel economic aid package, only 9 billion, only a little bit over 10% will be allocated to help out businesses. The other thing is that small businesses will get a grant of 6,000 shekels for March and 8,000 shekels for April. However, some businesses will only get 65% of their income because there is a ceiling. If you earned up to 20,000 shekels, you will get a grant. If you earned more than that, you will not get any money from the government. And another thing, which is a very weak point, I think, you know, if you're a business owner and your husband or your wife, your significant other, is making a lot of money, and together you make more than 340,000 shekels together, you will not be entitled to get this grant. So I think it's not very fair.
Now, wow, all right, so that just kind of answered a lot of questions. I mean, what I wanted to know is if basically anybody can get help, but you just answered all of that. So what happens to larger businesses that earn over 20,000 shekels a month? They don't get anything? That's what you're saying?
Exactly. They don't get anything. They can still get a loan. They still get deferrals on paying property taxes. They also get deferrals on paying other taxes that they have to pay. However, they cannot get any grants from the government. And we have to remember that the overhead costs for big businesses is huge.
Right.
I mean, you now have stores that are closed for a month and they have a 40,000 shekel rent to pay.
Right.
And nobody's going to compensate them for that.
What about, a reduction in the taxes that the public currently has to pay? Are we going to be seeing anything like that? Yeah.
So we don't know anything about the general public, but we do know that small businesses will not pay for 3 months of property taxes, but not personal people, not private people.
Right.
The only thing that private people can benefit from is a deferral in mortgage payments, which is also good, but still a lot of people lost their work and they've lost huge income.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us with this update. We're going to need you again because there are so many questions that our viewers have on a daily basis about what they're actually going to be eligible